Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Off the Cuff. Today's episode is going to be about Reign of Fire. So we're gonna go look at some Rotten Tomato reviews of Reign of Fire, kind of react and review them and critique the critiques and all that fun stuff. So give me just a second, I will pull it up. It's one of those things I feel like Rotten Tomatoes should already just know what I'm typing in because I've typed in some of these movies so many times. So it's just like, oh, this guy's looking for Reign of Fire again. So let's see what we've got to say here. We'll go under the critic reviews first, as always, and then we will go to the audience reviews. Removes. Oh my gosh, reviews. You can tell I'm tired, right? All right, let's see. From Tim Roby from the Daily Telegraph. This review is from March 31st, 2019. Again, can't talk right now. All right, so let's see. And again, these aren't the full reviews. These are just the little snippets they've got. Let's see. The poor dragons, on screen not nearly enough as it is, stand no chance pitted against this kind of heavyweight ham. I mean, yeah, it's a really hammy movie. I don't really know what you were looking for. This was so, this movie came out in 2002, and we didn't have, a Game of Thrones to compare it to. We didn't have um, we didn't have anything really to compare it to. So it's like, yeah, it has a, a story equivalent of Sci-Fi Channel original movie. And I get it. It's, I'm not going to sit here and say it's like high quality, Academy Award winning stuff, but I think it's really, I still think it's a really good movie and a ton of fun. Let's see. From Leah Rosen, People Magazine. Better than the trailers made it seem, but nothing to get fired up about. I mean, that's fair. The trailer, if you haven't gone back to watch, really go watch some of those old school, probably pre 2005 trailers for stuff that, especially the early 2000s. Before then, it would make sense. Um, it's the classic, in a world where dragons are taking over, like that. It's really that cheesy sort of trailer stuff. It's not like nowadays where the trailer is almost like a mini synopsis of the story of what to expect, which is a whole other thing because I would argue that trailers nowadays can give too much away of the movie. Um, but yeah, I mean the trailers are awful. Sorry, those like, especially like mid '90s, early 2000s trailers, like they didn't do anything for anybody. It wasn't until about 2008, 2009 we started getting more of the trailers that kind of have a story of their own and they use the dialogue of the movie itself to help move it forward. That's why you might hear about something like a trailer snippet where they will shoot a scene specifically for the trailer, but it's not designed to be in the movie itself, which is aggravating because sometimes you watch the trailer and you're like, that scene looked really cool. And then you go watch the movie and it's like, that scene isn't anywhere to be found. All right, let's see. From Malcolm Johnson of the Hartford Courant. 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 I don't make it sound like current, like the little raisin. Sorry. From Malcolm Johnson. For all its design and special effects artistry, Reign of Fire is seldom convincing, only slightly more alive than the silly 2000 Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's more than the 2000 Dungeons and Dragons is pretty brutal. But yeah, I mean, again, uh, this review was also March 31st, 2019. What are you expecting, right? Are we comparing to Game of Thrones? Are we looking at it in a vacuum? From Sloan Freer from the Radio Times, also March 31st, 2019. The sole spark of humanity comes from Matthew McConaughey, whose gung ho glee brings a hint of excitement and adventure to this hugely unsatisfying feature. Again, I mean, at least he highlights what I was talking about. I think Matthew McConaughey is pretty easily the best part of this movie. But that said, he's again the gung ho guy, whereas Christian Bale has more of the emotional depth. with his people in the castle and with Gerard Butler. He's a little bit more of like the emotional pull, whereas Matthew McConaughey is the action pull. He only has like one job to do in the movie, but he does a phenomenal job with it. Let's see. You wouldn't necessarily say that this review would be bad, or if you just heard it. This is Stephen Humphreys from the Christian Science Monitor. McConaughey's soldier chews more scenery than the toothiest of the dragons. Well, dragons wouldn't want to chew scenery, right? Like it's not meat scenery. Ha ha ha. Anyway, um, moving on from Tizzy Asher from The Stranger. Quote, is that dragon's breath, unquote? A child asks Quinn as fetid wind rumples his hair. Yes, it is. And boy, does it stink. Interesting. Um, it's a very interesting little blurb right there. There is surprisingly a lot of good positive reviews on this. This one is a positive one from Tim Brayton. Dragons, man, that's all we're really here to see, and they do not disappoint in the slightest. Back in 2012. Tim Brayton from Antagony and Ecstasy. uh, that's a fun name for publication. Yeah, I mean, again, Dragons, man. Like, what are we thinking? This one from Charles Cassidy, or Cassidy. Yeah, Cassidy. I was gonna say Cassidy, but there's not another A. From Common Sense Media. Says plotting sci-fi dragon disaster tale is okay for older kids. Again, what are we looking for? What are we looking for this movie? Are we looking for deep philosophy of the inherent problems with dragons? Like we can't even spin it as like a environmentalism sort of anything. Like it's just dragons happen to be sleeping under the earth and it's game over, man. Uh, let's see. This one from Felix Vasquez from Cinema Crazed. Garners so much potential for a large, exciting universe, but is just a waste of acting talent, special effects, and money. Again, I mean, this is before, and this review is a little before the days of full on cinematic universes when we get into Marvel. This review is from 2009. But I, I don't know if they mean large, exciting universe as in like more movies to be in. Um, again, I don't think it's a waste. I think it's a ton of fun for what it is. It really lets the actors cut loose, and you know, hey, it's a fun dumb dragon movie. Like, what do we need? Let's move over to some audience reviews and see what we've got here. Yeah, again, here there's like a ton of positive ones. This one from Richard. Great action, great actors, decent special effects. Can't seem to understand the low rating here on Rotten Tomatoes. Most reviews I've read seem positive as well. Yeah, again, and this review was in a few days ago in May 2025. Yeah, I mean, again, I think it comes down to I feel like I'm going to repeat myself a lot in this show format. You know, what are you expecting? Like, what are you coming into this movie expecting? Like I said in one of the other ones, I wish we had like a before and after. Like going into the movie, what are we expecting? Coming out of the movie, did you expect it? Was it good? Did it hit the mark? All that stuff. From John, given the cast and atypical choice of director, I obviously expected something more than mid-tier early 2000s Hollywood blockbuster fare that feels more like a B-side from Michael Bay than an involving in than an involving inspired work. Again, given so you saw it's all right, and this review was in February of 2025, just so you know. So you saw it's Christian Bale, you saw it was Matthew McConaughey, and you saw it was directed by Rob Bowman. So I'm not really sure what you're again, not sure what you're expecting coming into the movie. I can understand if you had seen other Christian Bale movies or other Matthew McConaughey works, and then you go back into the catalog and you're like, oh man, this is awesome. It's got Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey. It must be amazing. And you get this. Like, I can understand that. If you're coming off of like True Detective and Christian Bale's like Dark Knight, like, because those came out around the same time. I think McConaughey's True Detective was early 2010s, and then think like, you know, Dark Knight was 2008, and then Dark Knight Rises 2012. So assume it was around that area. And you go back to watch this, and you're like, oh, this isn't good. Then I could understand that, but overall, I think this movie, it's it's a dumb dragon apocalypse movie. And honestly, I think the visuals hold up really, really well for it being a 23-year-old movie now, which is crazy to think about. Makes me feel old, Gandalf. Let's see. Okay, here's a half star one. I was so excited to see this as a child for the first time, a world of dragons and a trailer that made it seem awesome. Then, after the first scene, every single thing that would have been great about this movie was expositioned in the opening credits. The rest of the movie is a bunch of bingos a bunch of bingos doing everything they can to make sure humanity dies off until thankfully this disaster was finally over. It's a very entertaining review. I can appreciate that. I mean, if you think it's a wasted opportunity, that's totally you're right. Even when I saw this back in the day, I had very little expectation for the movie, and I still thought it was awesome. And that was before I really knew anything about like mainstream actors. Because this movie came out when I was like 11 when this movie came out. Great review though. All right, let's see if we can find a couple more here. Well, here's an interesting one. 3 star. Mad Max visiting Jurassic Park with loose dragons in a post apocalyptic scenario, benefiting as a spectacle treat, carried by a decent cast, giving their all with acceptable written treatment, suiting their gritty charisma, but overall doesn't impress much nor amplify the presented thrills that were left flat. I mean, that overall sounds like a positive review. I mean, it's 3 out of 5 stars, and he gave it a B minus. I guess it's a very well thought out. I like that idea that it's Mad Max meets Jurassic Park. I guess it would have. I mean, if he says it's acceptable writing treatment, a spectacle treat, suits their gritty charisma, but doesn't impress much nor amplify presented thrills that were left flat. I guess I don't understand. I'm not sure what could have been done better. Given that you're saying that it was written acceptably. I mean, and if we're going to say acceptable is a B, like that's fine. And if we're saying it's a spectacle treat, I would assume that that means, you give it like an A for effects. So I guess I'm not sure writing wise, or maybe if it's like the story wasn't good enough, like up to par. It's a really interesting review, though. I would say that's a pretty quality review. It's very well thought out, and I really like that Mad Max visits Jurassic Park. All right, let's see here. Let's find one more. Yeah, here we go. This could have been much better, but I've got a soft spot for anything with dragons. Can't wait for House of the Dragons on HBO next year. This came out in 2021, or this review was written in 2021. Yeah, again, if you're going to go ahead and compare it to Game of Thrones, it's not Game of Thrones. That's not what we're going for here. Or House of the Dragon, even. Although I haven't seen season 2, but season 1 of House of the Dragon was really, really good. Again, this could have been so much better. I'm not sure where you would make the improvement, given what it is. It's a dragon apocalypse movie, so I'm not sure. Maybe if you want to make the argument, it would have been better as like a mini series before miniseries were cool. Like the first miniseries I remember being a big thing was like mid 2000s. So yeah, I'm not sure what could have been much better. I guess we'll leave it at that because a lot of these reviews are very samey. Thank you all so much for watching. As of this recording, we are up to 6,100 subscribers, which is bananas, and I really can't believe it. And I'm absolutely humbled. And yeah, it's been a wild ride so far, and I really appreciate all of you hanging in there and sticking around for it. If anyone's interested, we do have a Patreon that I just opened up. I shouldn't say just, I've been updating it the whole time, but it's there. There's a couple tiers if you want in to support, or if you're interested in listening to the film commentary tracks we're doing for the Let's Say Nice Things About series. That's a $5 tier. You get access to everything we have on the YouTube as a free member, because I think it's stupid to be putting the stuff we have for free up on a paywall. So anybody who's a member in there for free can watch any of that. But anyway, yeah, $5 and you get access to the commentary tracks. We're still working our way through it because I've been gung ho about getting the videos for Let's Say Nice Things About done, but I wasn't necessarily doing the commentary tracks because I've had to watch the movies in funny places. So, yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and
If you like what we're doing here, please hit that subscribe button. Please drop a like. Otherwise, I hope I see you in the next one. Take care.